Howdy, Banger Pals. Blayne Smith joining you for another Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. Today, I am talking about not metal again for some reason. Yeah, that was the Queens of the Stone Age. Their new album, In Times New Roman, ellipses, came out June 16th on Matador Records. Queens of the Stone Age are, of course, a Seattle-based rock band started in 1996 by Josh Homme, who are not metal, but they're sort of metal adjacent, and they get lumped in, and there's a lot of crossover with metal fans and Queens of the Stone Age fans, partly because, of course, Josh Homme sort of gets grandfathered into metal due to his work in Caius, sort of being one of the things that created stoner rock and stoner metal and that whole scene. And then there's also the fact that just how long the band has been around. There's a good chance that when you were young, Queens of the Stone Age were maybe one of the few bright spots that would come on the radio with regular play in between all the stuff that really wasn't doing that much interesting musically, because Songs for the Deaf came out in 2002, which would put me at 16. So, you know, some fun, bluesy, but also technical music was not exactly commonplace. I know Queens of the Stone Age has some diehard fans. I am not one of those. Shocker, I know. So if I didn't manage to upset you with my Godflesh review, maybe I can do that today. This is one of those albums that I absolutely made my mind up on before even pressing play. I hate the album title, In Times New Roman, ellipses. Yes, the ... dots are part of the album title. It's like some Ministry Dark Side of the Spoon level awful. Blah. Hey, 2 reviews, 2 Ministry burns. Nice. Then there's also song titles that go along, like what the peephole say, like peephole as in what you look through, but it sounds like people. And I just find the whole thing very offensive. I know Queens of the Stone Age always has a tongue-in-cheek, funny vibe, but this ain't it.
No, it offends me as a comedian.
Then there's the album cover, which looks like just bad fan art based on the last album cover. I get that it's supposed to be part of a trilogy and blah, 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 but it doesn't mesh with the previous 2 in terms of style. I'll never understand how bands with this size and this level of resources and this amount of money wind up with these bootleg-ass album covers. Like, are they ordering it on Fiverr? What's going on here? Speaking of Fiverr, that brings us to the sponsor for today's video. The sponsor is you. Because we have a Patreon campaign. You give us money, we make this content, and I don't have to tell you to buy something on Fiverr. Not that there's anything particular wrong with Fiverr. I've used it a couple times, but just don't use it if you're Queens of the Stone Age and you need an album cover. I don't know if that's what happened here. We have a Patreon campaign. You get a bunch of bonus stuff, some perks, and one of the perks is you get to vote on what we cover. So that's why I'm talking about Queens of the Stone Age right now, because a bunch of you voted for it. So if you don't like that decision and want to influence it, or if you like that decision and you want more stuff like that, just head on over to Patreon, sign up, and, you know, get involved, get in the mix. But just thanks for watching regardless. Wait, why am I waving? I got to do more review. So after deciding I hate this album, I then had to, listen to it, because again, that's my job. And it's not that bad? Question mark. I'm as shocked as you are. Things start very Queens of the Stone Age with some super chunky guitars leading into some strong, audible, bouncy, bluesy bass. I mean, I can't believe a band that has a radio hit in their life was able to just start an album. That never happens. Right into music. Oh, yes. And then track 2, which I have to say a dumb name again. So many of these have dumb names. Paper Machete, going back to my first point, blah, doesn't sound as good as a Songs for the Dead era song, but it fits in well with them. Like, it was cut from the album and they weren't going to release it, and then they've just released it a bunch of years down. But that's a really strong album, so this is a backhanded compliment, I know, but it's a compliment. It's just slightly rude. Speaking of classic Queens of the Stone Age stuff, Josh Homme's voice has not changed at all. I mean, I don't think I've listened to Queens of the Stone Age in like at least a decade. And the vocal delivery, he's still there. it could trick you. I mean, he still sounds fantastic. If you like the way he sounds, it's on full display here. One of my favorite things he does is his ability to kind of blast out a bunch of words really fast, but enunciate them well and sort of deliver it with this kind of roller coastery vibe. Yeah, that you can kind of feel in your stomach. There's a great example of that, which then leads into like sounding like Devo, then leading into sounding like Ghost. I don't know. It's like a Devo and Ghost call and response thing. Here, have a clip that it'll give you both those things, and you can understand what I'm talking about. Speaking of Devo into Ghost, that happens a lot on this album. Not sounding like Devo or Ghost. Just you're listening to the record and then you go, what's that strangely nostalgic but familiar taste I'm getting here? Which is very noticeable on an album where the whole album I'm already going, oh, look at this strangely nostalgic but familiar taste in Queens of the Stone Age, who also have a very distinct sound. So it makes these really obvious and noticeable. I mean, they're in the more straightforward kind of, you understand why this sounds like this. One's like album closer, Straight Jacket Fitting. God, that's also a bad name. Could be like a collaboration with Clutch, and I wouldn't be surprised, although it's not a collaboration with Clutch, and it's not really a collaboration with anyone. The record is done fairly in-house by Queens of the Stone Age standards. They're normally collaborating with a lot of musicians outside the band. There was then slightly weirder, kind of less expected ones, like the aforementioned brief hit of Devo into Ghost. And then there's ones where it conjured up albums that I haven't thought of in years. There's a song, Carnivore. Oh my God, these song titles are awful. It kind of evoked New York like dance punk band Enon and their album High Society, which is a reference I realize I'm probably making just for me here. They all do work though, because they don't sound derivative. They're just different sounds being injected into a 25-year-old formula in Queens of the Stone Age at this point, and they are a band that's always kind of jumped from area to area, kind of trying to keep things spicy while also maintaining their identity, and I think they achieved that all really well here. The thing that really surprised me was that I wasn't expecting at all was Made to Parade. I can't with these song titles. Made to Parade had something that I was not expecting at all, which was, I'd swear Matt Berry is closing out an episode of Toast of London here. Have a listen. Being too nice to a big band. That's not what I do. Get our mean faces on. Unfortunately, yeah, there's that initial bump I mentioned off the top of like, oh, this sounds like Queens of the Stone Age, but there's a bit of a dead spot, and it's not until you get to the back nine that there's really life in the chorus. Track 3 is literally called Negative Space, which is for me the funniest joke on the record, because yeah, it's kind of just a hole in the record. There's nothing there. It's bad. And then it leads into a song that's also empty and boring. And basically it feels like there was a pothole and I was biking along and I went, I know how big that pothole's going to be. I can bike over it. And then it was a lot deeper. And then I rode over it and I just got pitched over my handlebars. The line where things get good doesn't even make sense, because remember that Made to Parade Matt Berry track I closed out the last section with? Yeah, that happens halfway through the song, but the first half is also dull, boring, and repetitive. I am once again here offering my Edward Scissorhands services to bands free of charge. Anytime you want to know what song should I cut out of my record to make it better, because seriously, tracks 3, 4, gone. 8 minutes, 19 seconds, saved. That means you're sliding a 39 minute, 16 second vacuum packed 8-track flavor packet into my soup, and then we're cooking, baby. Whew. Did you know Brad Leone's back on YouTube? He's got his own YouTube channel now. I love Brad. Finish your album, get it done, and then cut 2 tracks off it every time. After listening to this as many times as I had to, my head was bobbing. The tracks I liked, I was singing along with, and I did find the album mostly undisturbed by the issues that tend to plague projects of this size, except for the fact that no one feels comfortable telling you tracks 3 and 4 suck. Get them out of there before you release this thing. Everyone needs to get meaner friends. You have one comedian in your friend circle just because they'll just roast tracks like that when you go, hey, what do you think of our new record? We're about to put it out. Ultimately, though, I liked what I liked, which was, I'd say, more than half the record, which is a Herculean feat for a band like this as far as I'm concerned. I am an unbearable hipster that goes, is it a big band? No, man. 3.5 out of 5 skulls that are telling it like it is. Boom. What did you think of the record? I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't do some deep dive on Queens of the Stone Age. So how are they faring? Is this been the quality for the past couple of years? Is this up? Is this down? And hey, if you want me to respond to your comment, start your comment with a sound that you heard on this record that you wouldn't have expected if you have listened to it. And I'll see if I can hear it too. It'll be a fun game. Anyways, shoutouts. We've got shoutouts. You made it to the end, and as always, the treat for making it to the end is 3 great records. Whether I like the record above or not, you know, I find a handful of records that are in a similar vein, so that if you made it to the end and you watch this whole thing, I probably can give you a couple of records you will enjoy regardless. I'm once again in the position where I don't know what the hell came out in the past year that sounds like Queens of the Stone Age. That's not what I do. So here's 3 records. Get as close as I can get to nowhere near. So the closest I can get is it technically is a 10th anniversary reissue, but Matt Berry's Kill the Wolf 10th anniversary edition on Acid Jazz just came out. If you've never listened to Matt Berry's music, it's fantastic. If you enjoy any of his work, any of the songs, he just also makes real non-comedy music, and it's all very fantastic, and I love Matt Berry, so definitely check that out. In heavy metal, I guess, is sort of close to this. We've got Crossed Hearts, Forced Perspective on Church Recordings. Yeah, new heavy metal band coming out of Atlanta. So yeah, it's a fun record, and sort of, I guess, like Queens of the Stone Age, except not at all. And then nowhere near Queens of the Stone Age. I just absolutely love this record. I love the artwork. The instant I heard it and saw it, I ordered the gorgeous t-shirt for it. Lucifixion, Trisect Joys of Pierced Hearts on Sentient Rune Laboratories. I don't know, if you're hanging out on BangerTV, maybe I've forced you to listen to stuff like this and you've gotten used to it. So that does not sound like Queens of the Stone Age, but it's very, 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 very good. It would have been in Metal Monthly, but of course, none filled the black metal spot because none's my favorite black metal band. But Lucifixion, very good. And this is the video.